Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Feels good to have our own holiday, doesn't it? Glad to see all of you here. And one of the reasons we want, because this is a big crowd, isn't it? One of the reasons we want all the enthusiasm we can have is because at this very moment, this program is being broadcast live on Sirius XM satellite radio. So we want everyone in Radio Land to hear all of you. So let's try it one more time. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Outstanding.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and on the free, and the home of the
On this next to last day of his life, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech in Memphis that I think all of us know, and it was the foreshadowing of his death. And we all know these words when he talks specifically about the difficult days that are to come, about the fact that it really doesn't matter to him now because he's been to the mountaintop. He might not get there with us, but he knows that we will get to the promised land. But there's another section of that speech that I want to spend a few minutes talking about today. Dr. King talked about in that speech as well about the Good Samaritan. He talked about the fact that long after a priest came a priest and a Levite who had refused to help a man who had been attacked. And here's what Dr. King said that night in Memphis. He said, and so the first question that the priest asked, the first question that the Levite asked was, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? But then the Good Samaritan came by and he reversed that question. He said, if I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him? That's the question each of us has to ask when we see someone in trouble, when we see someone who is hurting. What will happen to him or her if we don't stop? As a city, I believe that we have to be vigilant every day to show our compassion and our mercy for the least among us. But we also have to go beyond compassion and mercy. We have to work hard to lift everyone up. We have to look beyond ourselves and we have to serve. So I'm not going to talk to you today about transit. I'm going to give you the day off from talking about sidewalks. But I am going to talk about mobility. It's about a different kind of mobility today. It's more powerful because it's the mobility to earn a decent wage, and it's about the mobility to keep moving ahead and have economic justice. Too many people don't have that kind of mobility and that opportunity. And in order for us to make Nashville a city where that's possible, we have to have an economic structure that just does that. And that does mean education. That does mean affordable housing. That means safe neighborhoods. It means having a foundation of a city where no one is left behind. It's great that Nashville gets called the It City. We are the It City. And we have a lot of accolades, and I'm proud of our city for that. But I want our city to be more than the It City. I want our city to be the city that gets it right, that everyone has a chance to succeed. And that's what we have to do. If you are part of Nashville's prosperity, it's your duty to reach back and pull the next person forward. We have a duty to take those folks to the mountaintop. We are all one city. We are all one people. We have each other. We are brothers and sisters. And Dr. King also said that in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. So please don't be silent. Please speak up. Talk about the problems that we have here. And don't ask, what will happen to me? Ask, what will happen to him or to her? Dr. King's legacy is one of the most powerful and poetic in the history of our nation. His message of nonviolence, of faith and love stirs me every day. He taught us that love is stronger than anything else, that violence is more destructive than nonviolence, and that justice will come. It may come slowly, but it will come. And change will come too. And I am proof of that as I stand before you as the 7th mayor of Nashville, the first woman to be elected. Things do change. I walked in a parade recently, and there were 3 little girls sitting by the side of the road. And there were some guys walking behind me, and someone yelled out, "Here comes the mayor." And those 3 little girls looked at the guys behind me and said, "Which one is he?" And I walked over to those little girls and I said, "Actually, it's me." And they said, "A woman can be mayor." And I said, "Yes, a woman can." Change does come. It does. And it is great to be with all of you here today as we honor Dr. King's life, we celebrate his legacy, and I am so looking forward to hearing his son, Martin King III, speak to us in a few minutes. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you for inviting me here today, and thanks so much for allowing me to represent you in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. I'm thankful that most of my colleagues in Washington are envious of Nashville, and they've really been envious for a long time. We haven't always had all these skyscrapers and fancy convention centers. And by the way, Charles Starks just told me the daily heating and air conditioning bill for this building is $15,000 a day. But I'm thankful for the heat right now. But my colleagues are envious of Nashville because we are a blessed community here, and we've been blessed for a long time. One of our blessings is the fact that we have 4 HBCUs here. Fisk, Meharry, TSU, American Baptist College. So not just those centers of learning, it's also the special spirit that Nashville has. And I'm not blowing smoke. Any of y'all have been to the public library here, you know in the Civil Rights Room, there's that great quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who paid us the ultimate compliment. No city in the world has ever been complimented the way Nashville was when he said that he came to Nashville not to give us inspiration, but to gain inspiration. And what was he talking about? He was talking about that spirit of nonviolence, that spirit of benevolence, the spirit that colleagues of mine in Congress, like John Lewis of Atlanta, but who dearly loves Nashville because that's where he learned from Dr. Lawson and others the spirit of nonviolence, of civil disobedience that has given us a better society than the one they were born in, and that's going to give us a better society still. But we got a lot of work to do. And let me tell you what happened to me last week. There's good news and bad news. The good news is I got to hear our great President, Barack Obama, deliver his 7th State of the Union address. He is so eloquent. He is so poised. He is so calm, even though he's been the most attacked president of any president in our history. They have tried to delegitimize him in every way possible. The birther movement, you name it. But the president has kept his cool. He did a great job again this last week. When the First Lady, Michelle Obama, walked into the room, she literally lit up the room. It's hard to do that when you got 1,000 angry politicians in a room, and she did it. She always does it. She is amazing. But that's the good news. The bad news is what happened to me the next day. I went down to the house gym to get a little exercise, and one of my colleagues from another state, another party, was there. And he said to me one of the ugliest things I've ever heard. He said, "Well, how did you and your black president do last night?" This is January 2016. And we still have openly racist federal officials. Now, most of them, use the code words. They are subtle and indirect, and they try to say, "Oh, not me." But in the privacy of the gym, that's what this guy really felt in his heart. And he completely violated Dr. King's message that we should look at the content of your character, not at the color of your skin. Well, this poor man not only had not attended the State of the Union, which is virtually mandatory because he really didn't care. He didn't watch it on TV. And all he wanted to do was badmouth and backbite the President of the United States. Even if you don't like the man, you should honor the office. And he failed to even do that. So we got a lot of work to do. There are lots of folks whose hearts aren't right, who haven't absorbed the message of Dr. King. So we got a long way to go. But Nashville, at least, is starting from a good place. And we can make it, we will make it under our great mayor, Megan Barry, and under our previous mayors. We've had some awesome leadership in this city. You're about the first group to meet in what has now been officially named the Carl Dean Grand Ballroom at the Convention Center. Carl Dean did a great job as mayor. And let me single out a person that sometimes we forget, but I mentioned him at the TSU March this morning. There's a congressman from this town who in 1964, a time when it was pretty difficult for Southern congressmen to vote for civil rights acts, he voted for it. His name was Richard Fulton, Dick Fulton. He later went on to be a mayor of Nashville. That took real courage. So regardless of the cold weather today, I know none of us are fair weather civil rights advocates. Dick Fulton certainly was not. He braved the storm and did the right thing for the future of our city and our country. So thank you for being here today. Carry the Dr. King message in your hearts. And I'm so excited. We're about to hear from his own son right now. Thank you.
If our philosophy is of olden biblical days, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, most of us would be without eyes and teeth. Obviously, that cannot work to resolve conflict and crisis.
Yes.
There's got to be a higher path.
Come on.
That's really all Martin Luther King Jr. was trying to tell us.
That's right.
There's a higher path that we can take, that God's greatest creation, human beings. I mean, you think about this. Whenever we want to resolve a conflict, we resort to the lowest form of dealing with that, which is what animals do. I mean, you never seen a group of monkeys talking about Plato and Socrates and Du Bois or Harriet Tubman or anything. They don't have that ability.
Yes.
You never seen a group of cats talking about I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, I'm independent, I'm nothing. They don't have that ability. You've never seen a group of orangutans talking about I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm Jewish, I'm atheist. They don't have that ability. But God's highest creation, humankind,
Come on.
has an ability. to think and to reason. And yet when we get ready to resolve a conflict, we resort to the lowest form of resolving it. I'm going to hit him. Well, actually, I wish it was just hitting now, actually.
Yes, right.
I'm going to take him out with some kind of gun. It's a vicious cycle of sickness that is programmed and promoted.
Come on, come on. So I got in, ran, caught up at the front of the line, and we were singing. And a few minutes later, we were being arrested, and when they finished, it was like 2,500 of us that was in jail. Little children. Family members hear this. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I see this little boy, about 4 years old. I said, "What are you in here for?" He said, "Tatum." He couldn't even say freedom.
Tatum.
I'm here for Tatum.
I have a dream today. 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 Black men and white men, all of God's children. Black men and white men, all of God's children. Dream, but don't sleep. Fight, but in peace. Sit in, but stand up. Without violence, be tough. Gonna be some rough days. Push through it, push through it. Trouble don't last always. Stick to it, stick to it. Wake up. Start living the dream. Wake up. Go do your thing. Wake up. Every man's a king. Wake up, wake up. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory. Mine eyes have seen. Was it in vain?
Yeah, Malcolm, Mark, Mega, and Bob Gregory too.
Was it in vain?